What is shaking, YouTube? Welcome back. Happy Sunday to everyone. Hope you're all doing well. We just minutes ago hit into a relatively decent looking level here. It is decent on the old Bitcoin here, but might get a little bit of a push down here into this previous day's open, which is Friday's open. All right, not Saturdays. Let's just pop this up here real quick. Got a little golden pocket action brewing on up here. Make sure I'm not talking out of my my behind. But yeah, there we go. Look at that, 618 right there on Friday's opening level. That's pretty interesting right there. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of reaction we get here. But this is plotting into Friday's point of control as well here in this zone, big volume node. So this could get a little bit of reaction. Before we get into it, today is our first, I guess we might do this on a weekly, a giveaway for a VIP membership. We hit 50 likes and we will do a 1 month VIP membership giveaway. All right, so comment. I see the comments, like, and let's see if we can get this going here. If not, I'm going to retire and just go trade by myself. Anyways, so here we go, approaching this level. Join the Discord group, link is in the description. If anybody has any questions, just comment away, let me know, and I'll try to answer them if I can. So pretty good week for Bitcoin, I have to say. Obviously, we're still in a world of hurt if we can't get over this 100K zone. But at least we started sort of moving around a little bit back to the upside. We started to take out some highs here. So we broke the initial balance of the week to the upside, which was always good. And now let's see if we can carry some of this momentum into the week. But a good pullback would be nice, which looks like we're getting that right now. And see if we can get this back up to around Friday's close. Let's take a quick peek here at the futures and see where the old CME gap is here. All right, so we've got our close at 97,555. All right, and our Friday close here on Bybit is 97,466. So a little further away than that. All right, so let's see here. Turn this magnet off. 97,555, right around there. There's our CME gap for Friday. Don't really want to do that. Let's just get this rocking here. CME gap. And we'll put it in perfectly at that 9,55555. All right, 97,555. Let's go, Mike Ann Arbor here. Good to see you, buddy. Stefan Backen, Builder Bab in the house, and Mr. Bent Oysten Boystad. Good to see you guys. GM, GA, GE, wherever you are. I am in the afternoon right now, but yes, I would also say that. Good afternoon, good evening, and if there's any mother-in-laws out there, good riddance. I jest. We all love mothers-in-laws. All right, so this is a pretty interesting zone here. Again, we may come down here, test this. Let's see what kind of reaction. So far, volume over the weekend is pretty typically low. What's going on, Joker? And good to see you, buddy. And we have this little push down here now. So looks like the bears are trying to take over here, but they're pushing right into support here. So that might not work out so well for them. All right, let's just check out how this is moving. But we did get some good uptick in bullish volume, which is real nice to see there on Friday. And let's really hope that the bulls are kind of ending their little vacation here. One thing that is a little bit troubling is still that wick down at 89. So we might have to go down and grab that before turning this around and moving to the upside. And momentum is also horrible right now, but that's just par for the course. Let's just see if we can get a little Sunday afternoon reversal here. 11 likes. We only need 39 more likes, and the giveaway will begin. So for the most part, I mean, we're still really just stuck in this zone here, right? There's not much to say. Everybody's getting a little bit bored of the Bitcoin and crypto. Everybody looking at sort of weird things like alt seasons and dominance and all of this business. But we're really just sort of trapped up here. All right. And until we can start to break out of this zone, again, we're looking at about 90K at the bottom. Sorry, 90K at the bottom. We got this big nasty wick to fill in here. And we've also got this big nasty wick. Hopefully we don't have to break that to turn this around. Pardon me. Greetings, Lloyd Roger Spencer. Good to see you. So let's see exactly how far down this is going to go. But that's really what we're battling here, right? And it's very typical that this stuff happens, all right? So it's not a big deal, you know, nothing to be afraid of. Now, one thing that is, I wouldn't call it quite concerning, all right? But the way that this is setting up here, it can really go both ways. Like it really can. If you're trying to figure this out in Wyckoff theory or even Elliott waves, like this really could turn around quite quickly here. But it's real nice to see this real great zone that we've created here. All right. So when we get into ranges, it's generally a good thing. All right. It's not bad. The other thing that is very interesting here is on this move up here, everything was really quite clean. And then this is where we start to get pretty parabolic, obviously. So we can look at this two ways. We can get a price range here, let's say from that range high up, massive 50% move, all right? And we can also pull it down to here, but that starts getting a little bit strange. Huge 131% move. And we can pull one from the top of this range as well and take it up to the top here where we're only putting in a 48. So in that sense, it looks like this might be losing a little bit of steam, right? So each wave up, you kind of want to see how good things are pushing up, all right? So I would suggest that it actually looks still pretty good, especially if you're going to use projections, all right? So we've got a fib projection from here to here. You head up to that 2.618, a little bit higher, maybe around the 3 actually is probably where that came in. Let me just pop a 3 up on here. See where that hits, and yeah, right there to the 3. All right. And then if we throw on one from this low to this high, we've come on up and hit into the 141. All right, so definitely losing a bit of steam, but it's not aggressively losing steam. All right, I know that might sound a little bit weird here, but you see we've gone parabolic. Now we've gone parabolic again. So generally when we see these things really turning around, we're going to see one nice push up, and we're going to gently take the high and then consolidate a little bit there. And that's sort of when you get that real idea that this move upwards is losing steam. Full on momentum. So this could be, you know, there's a real possibility that this is just a reaccumulation phase and price will now pump out of here one more time. And then we see that move, how aggressive that goes out of there. All right. Okay. So let's take a peek here at, we had a question about VWAPs. All right. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but in the Discord, we will be talking about VWAPs today in the VIP session. So, but I just want to go over this a little bit and make this sort of about rules, right? Rules and regulations in trading are a little bit they're necessary at first, right? But you don't really want to fall into too many rules. What you want to do is explore these things. All right, explore them all and see what suits your needs. Oh, we're actually getting a decent little move there. Cute little bounce, bullish volume picking up there. Maybe this support will hold. What's going on, Mr. Majid? I'm doing well, sir. How are you? I hope you're doing well. So in terms of the VWAP, all right, you've got your daily VWAP, which is pretty straightforward. It's just dynamic support and resistance that comes in off of the open, all right? And then it'll leave you your naked VWAPs and things of that nature that you can use some days down the road. But I want to talk more about the anchored VWAP, all right? It is a very interesting tool that you can really use in a lot of ways. So one of my favorite things to do with it is to create channels. Okay, so you're pushing up, you know, every time you create a new high, you can slap these on and see where it takes you. All right, so here's a high, you put one on, okay, you create a new high, you put another one on, and then you'll see that it starts to create these channels for you, right? So price comes down into that channel, comes back up. You can get a couple of really nice trades out of that. Price comes below, hits the channel. Okay, now deviates. And now you've also put in this high. So you can create another anchored VWAP here. Okay, and it's really just fortifying that channel, giving you more levels to think about when you're there. But you can see how amazing this is, right? Now you don't only have to take it off the highs, you can also take it off the lows, or you can do a little bit of a mix up, all right? So we'll just use this one and we can randomly use a bunch of these, all right? So here's a nice high. You pull a anchored VWAP off it. Price starts kind of hitting off of this, all right? And then once you put in your low, you can pull one off of that low as well. And this will also create for you a real nice channel based off of high and low, or your swing structure, right? And you really can see that they do get quite a bit of respect, all right? Nothing is 100%, but they really do move. And then once you put in your new low here, so this is a new swing low, you can now pop that in. And now this is your volume weighted average price through your swing high and your swing low that you're currently stuck in here. So you can be looking for longs up to the top. Okay, it breaks above it. You can now look for this whole zone here to work as support. And then price breaks below it, retests, comes down, and now you can look for this to work as resistance. And then you put in a new swing low here. So doesn't mean you have to get rid of this, but you definitely can, and you can pop it on to a brand new one. And crosses are also quite interesting here. Once you see these crosses, I mean, that's a very strong move. Price comes right back in to, again, your new channel. And then on this move up, you obviously break this high. So you don't have to get rid of this again, but you can. And now you can formulate a new channel from high to low. All right, so very, very useful stuff. Once you get these aggressive breaks away from that zone and price comes back into it, you can definitely be looking for some form of confluence, all right? Okay, we only need 40 likes. And if you are enjoying this, please leave a like. Consider subscribing to the channel and join our Discord. Link is in the description. I'm going to be heavily peddling this today just to see if we can get 50 likes on a video. We hit 50 likes, we're giving away a 1-month membership. So this is a very simple way of using this, right? Now, something else that is quite useful here are high volume candles, all right? I really like to look at the VWAP on high volume candles. So this one is pretty basic because you've got your high volume pushing down into the low. So no big deal. But when you see these inside ranges, all right, so here's a low and a high, and you start to get these real big volume candles. All right, so here's one. Right, you can throw a VWAP on that, and then here's a big one to the upside. You can throw another one there, and you're creating channels now out of places that most people won't think about doing this because it's just out of the rules and regulations of taking highs, lows, opens, monthly opens, weekly opens, right? This does not make too much sense. You're just in the middle of a down move here. Why would you pull an anchored VWAP there? Well, it's because of this massive volume, and you can see it's pretty nice. And why would that be? It's because this is a volume weighted indicator, so it makes sense to go where the volume is more weighted or pull it off of that zone. All right, I hope that makes sense. So there's really no real hard fast rules, all right, but definitely you want to have a, if you're going to be heavily using VWAPs, all right, or on the 4-hour chart. Okay, here's your daily open, but it's also your weekly open, right? So your weekly VWAP, you can play with this and just leave it on for a while. I mean, look at that. It's absolutely fantastic. All right, so weekly open. And then when you get to the next week, you can do the exact same thing and see if you can create a channel off of that. All right, so here's our weekly open that actually hits off of that VWAP. That's really the first hit you get off of it. Okay, it's a very decent looking volume candle, not as nice as its next door neighbor here, but it also is a low, right? So you can hit that as well and create that volume channel again. And the respect is quite unbelievable off of this. And so this is on Monday. It's not until the next Tuesday, so 8 days later, does this work to the dollar, all right? And it's kind of that naked VWAP thing, right? This is from last week. So the first hit on it of the week, I mean, that is a monster trade there. If you could find more confluence here, which you're obviously looking at a fair value gap here. We've got a high to a low 0.5 right there. There's going to be other stuff that you can find in here. And it doesn't look like much, but again, these are very, very decent moves. 3.44%. So in terms of adding confluence, all right, those weeklies are going to be fantastic. All right, weekly opens. Let's take a look here at February 1st, because that's going to be another big one. It's going to be your monthly opens. Okay, so there's our monthly open, huge volume day, so that's great, and a low. So that's fantastic, right? You can pretty much guarantee that that's going to give you some good hits. Okay, but if you look, it doesn't seem great right now, right? Doesn't seem great. So let's just go back here to January. Okay, and there's our monthly open. Again, during the open and that month, you know, it doesn't look that great. Okay, now once you start getting towards the end of the month, it starts kicking in a little bit better, right? And now here it is next month, you start to see you've got your channel built up here off of opens. So this is your January, February VWAP, anchored VWAP channel. And now you can start to get another idea as to why we're just hitting this wall here, right? IB equals first hour of each session or just day. What's your drawings of initial balance? So there's really two different ways I do it, right? Your initial balance is your first hour, really, of the day, right? So at daily open, it's your first hour. If you get into sessions, you can bring that down to half hour. So the New York session, it's the first half hour is the initial balance. But if you're trading stocks, then it's different, because obviously if you're on the New York Stock Exchange, then the day opens there. So it's again the first hour. And then if you're looking at the sort of day boxes or the week, for the week, then your initial balance is the first 2 days of the week, right? So that's how I would take care of that. So to answer that question, we'll just go down to the 30-minute. Let's turn on our session of volume profile so that I can quickly see days here. And did we hit that golden pog? No, I think we're moving back up now. So again, yeah, you've got Monday, Tuesday, that's your initial balance for the week. Price breaks it down. So you would imagine that you're not going to come up and break the high of Tuesday, but this week we actually did that. So pretty wacky week. We did hit a big level here. There was some good signs of strength, but for the most part, you're not going to come up and break that. So if you're looking at the daily chart for the weekly, it's your first 2 days. If we're looking at just the day, then it's the first 2 half-hour candles, also known as the first hour of trading. All right. So there's your initial balance. All right. If you're trading above, you could be looking for longs. If you're trading inside of it, be careful. And if you're trading below it, you could be looking for shorts. Okay. And then if we break it down into the 15-minute chart, okay, depending how you mark out your Asia session, oops. But there is your 15 minutes initial balance for your Asia session. There's your initial balance for your London session, first 15 minutes. And then for New York, you just rinse and repeat that if you're trading something like Bitcoin or the futures, all right? Because the daily open's already happened. So you're really just looking for that first 15-minute candle of the session. And then if you're looking at the whole day session, it's the 1 hour, all right? But that again depends on how you're going to be trading it, okay? So New York open session, there it is. It'll look a little bit better if I wasn't doing this on Saturday. So remember this, if you're using the 15-minute chart, you're not looking at the day's initial balance, right? If you're just using that 15-minute candle, you're just looking at Asia initial balance, all right? So you definitely are going to want to amplify this a little bit when price starts moving down on the day, all right? I hope that makes sense, Marius. Okay. But yes, for all intents and purposes, the initial balance is the first 2 half-hour candles or the first hour of trading. That's generally the way it's looked at, all right? Okay, so yeah, the VWAP. Back to the VWAP, if we can get it there. Okay, don't get boxed in by things, but what you really want to take it off is obviously opens, monthly open, and don't be dismayed when it's not really helping you that much. So here's January's isn't that helpful, but once January breaks into February, it all of a sudden starts to give you quite a bit more respect, which is the same way as your daily VWAP. When you open a day, let me just close these VWAPs out here. We'll look at Friday, forget Sunday and Saturday here. All right, so when we open up our Friday, okay, that's our VWAP, and you can see that it just really doesn't respect it that much. There you get some respect, but you know, it's just sort of moves around it. And then once you get the big push away from it, that's when you start looking for it. You want to see these moves away. And now that you're the better part of the day into it, that's when it starts to really kind of show its true potential here, right? Because it just started here, so it doesn't matter how much volume is weighted on it. It's not that important until you get a little bit further on down the day. Now, this took a long time to start being important. And in fact, this was your close right here. Okay, so at this point here, now it turns into that naked VWAP sort of idea. Price comes into it and goes. All right there is the close. So that's your naked VWAP. Price hits it once, goes, comes in, hits it perfectly again, goes. I'm not sure if that one did. No, I don't think that one hit it. That is your closing candle. So yeah, right there. Yeah, that third doesn't look like it touched it, but these two definitely did, right? Now, when you're in a trending day, right, the VWAP is helpful because you're just going to see it underneath you, but a lot of times you're not even going to come close to touching it. But if you see price really moving away from it, let's say something like Tuesday here, for example. Okay, so there's your open. Okay, your VWAP starts chugging along, and then price just starts ripping below it, and it never comes back. All right, so in these cases, when you're trading below the VWAP, right, you can be using other things, you know, maybe the big three, whatever that you're looking at. Get down on those lower time frames, look for those pullbacks. You've obviously got increasing bearish volume on these pushes down, right? So this move doesn't look like it's over. It starts to range around. You can create yourself a range there. You've got New York open, they come up and just start messing around. Ups and downs, get the washing machine going, right? Spinning people out. And then once it breaks out, it can go, right? And this is when price action is very useful. It's watching these stuff, whether you want to start looking for a trade, maybe in this fair value gap here, order block, this high, maybe a hit off the VWAP, but it's pushed away quite aggressively. You can be looking to get in shorts for other reasons. This again here is a very nice range candle. I don't know why I said again, because I didn't bring that up. But when you see these big moves and then you get this first pivot candle, right? The volume, they're trying to stop something, but that's not great volume. It's not bad, but it's not great. Okay, and this is when I love using these price action principles. All right, so this is a range candle. All right, if you're trading below the VWAP, you're either going to be looking to mean reversion trade back up to the VWAP, or you're going to be looking for continuation to the downside. You see price starts to push up, pretty low volume here, right? So this range candle, you're looking for a break of this candle. This is your first pivot candle after a good move down. You could also employ other techniques here, right? Okay, so you could look for reasons to get short here, or you can wait for a break of this to the downside. Watching volume, you've got a big increase in volume here, another good volume candle. It's decreasing, but it definitely breaks the zone. All right, if you're not convinced there, then you have increasing volume on this next candle that breaks the pocket, and you can look to short that, right? So a lot of people will think this is a late entry, right? And it's you know, it's definitely not here, but there's a lot of confirmation by this point. You can be pretty sure that this move is going to go down, and off it goes, right? So the VWAP it's very useful for precise hits. You know, if you're looking at the naked VWAPs, previous days or a couple days old, the channels are really fantastic if you're building them off lows and highs. Very useful tools. All right, so play around with it and just see what you can create with these. All right, zoom out, look at higher time frames. You can look at weeklies, you can look at monthly time frames, and create these really massive channels that are going to give you support for a long time. All right, so let's just look, for example, what something as crazy far back as this would give us. You've got this low here. Right, you've got this low here. All right, you've got your channel set up here. Price starts showing you some love off the channel, finally hits it and starts to go. And then as you're putting in higher lows here, you can just add VWAPs, all right? It might start getting a bit confusing with a bunch of them, but you're just adding all of these stories of potential support here, right? And then as price is breaking out, you can really look to ride this wave built up of anchored low VWAPs, all right? Ride the wave. All right, what do we got here? 17 likes, oh my goodness. We're almost there. We only need 33 more likes. So yeah, I hope that answers your question as well, Marius, the initial balance, all right? And initial balance is also a great zone to use, but you got to have some decent confluence with it, all right? It's not something that I would look to trade on its own, but a lot of times you'll see that idea of like naked initial balances where price opened up on a day and just started pushing away. You might find a range high volume node in there. You might find a golden pocket, something of that nature, right? Or if price starts to range right around the open, let's see if we can find an example of that. Okay, so on Friday, that's a pretty decent example. Okay, so Friday, initial balance, it just really sticks around there all day until New York opens, still sticks around there. And then price pushes away from it aggressively. So price didn't move away from it quickly, but this is going to be a pretty decent place to be looking for something, all right? And you can incorporate the initial balance into this. Good Sunday, Denny. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Let's just take a peek here at what the volume profile is saying, because this is going to be one of those weird situations where you're going to find most likely some sort of value area weirdness, all right? And in this case, the value area weirdness is that point of control. All right, so you got a big high volume node, point of control. Inside the initial balance, if we start looking at some sort of projections here, you can most likely find something. Take an extension here. All right, so we've got the 886 just below it. Nothing spectacular here. Let's keep trying to find a cluster here, a fib cluster of some sort. Okay, you got the 886 right in there, perfectly in that initial balance, inside of that high volume node with that point of control right on the 886. All right, so it starts to build up a little bit of a story here, right? All right, so far 886 right on that point of control. We've got the extension 886 just below that zone. And if we start to pop up some other fibs here, let's check out a negative. No, but you've got the zone there in between. But you start to build up that story, right? Initial balance, point of control, which is obviously, you know, you don't even have to say high volume node. 886 of that fib retracement from this high to that low. So it starts to look pretty decent. Now, if we can get up here, right, you know, this is just complete crazy talk here, right? But let's say we start to move up, we take the 100K zone. Okay, we get up here. In this zone, we've also got that handy dandy 104K zone that I created here, right? And one of those zones is right in that initial balance too. Look at that. That's pretty interesting. Oh. But let's just, you know, play devil's advocate here, and let's say that we get to a point where we open up a day, and this is like a day's range, right? So maybe you know, price opens up on this day, it does a little wiggle jiggle down there, pumps up, hits the brakes, comes back down, and then closes relatively high on its day. And then the next day, you can start to create a narrative about potentialities, right? So if price comes above here now, or sorry, forget it. Price opens up, comes above, sweeps the high of the day, comes back down, creates your Asia range there. London comes down, doesn't sweep the lows, stays up relatively in the middle of the zone, and then New York opens up. And if it's going to go for a stop hunt, this would be a perfect thing to do, right? So New York opens up, hits the stops of Asia, and then rejects off of there and moves down, you know, and then eventually within the next few days, it turns back around and goes for a bit of a swim to the downside, right? So it's pretty important, this sort of narrative idea, right? That's what I would suggest to you, right? Because if you can understand what's happening, right, then TA will make a lot more sense. If you can say to yourself, you know, let's just look at this again, because this happened a few times last week. The NASDAQ was actually a perfect example, but it happened on Bitcoin as well. We'll look at both of them. Okay, so we've got this real cute high volume zone here. Okay, we've got this teeny little guy here. All right, and then you've obviously got this point of control, right? So price comes down, London opens, takes out this point of control, comes on down into this zone, sweeping the Asia low. All right, now it swept it quite aggressively. But if you're looking to get in on a trade here and you're looking at the volume profile, that would be a fantastic place to be looking. All right, and you're just building up this sort of narrative of where are we going to go for these sweeps. Price wicks through the 382. All right, hits into this zone perfectly. This little wacky high volume node here. It is small, but it is cute. It fills in or breaks into this fair value gap here once again. That's already been mitigated apparently, but it holds. So you've got all of this info here helping you out to create that. But the idea of not panicking, right, is what is going on here. It is just a stop hunt, right? You've got liquidity out of the Asia session now. You've taken out these lows here. You've got some liquidity out of New York's session from the previous days. And now you can look to turn that around. If it's very stressful for you, I can understand that, right? Catching these moves is not the easiest thing to do, but you can obviously wait till later. Sorry. And hop in on the New York pullback into that golden pocket. Sorry, it's not New York, it's 130, but that was that news that came out, and price then rockets on away. And we'll just go for that bad boy. Okay, and then New York opens up and just steamrolls to the upside and keeps going, right? So very narrative based idea that then you can play your TA off of, right? So it's everything's got to be built on TA. It's sort of like this right here, right? We hit into this zone right now. There's our point of control from Friday. You could be looking to long this. There's a 786 here as well that we bounced off of. What is it accomplishing on the weekend? It's just weekend warriors destroying each other, right? So there's not much you want to think about in terms of sessions, although people still play the sessions during the week. It's obviously time zones, right? Not markets open or anything like that. But if we look here on Thursday, it was pretty much that's what happened, right? Take out the London low. New York then pumps up, gets caught up on some previous structure, comes back down, sweeps its own low and goes. But the building of this whole move is that Asia low, price comes down, hits into high volume nodes, right? And I'm just using high volume nodes as an example. It could be anything else. Oh, geez. Right. Okay, actually doesn't hit into that. Hits into this wick. Turns back around. Let me see, there was a better example here. When was it? Monday? Yeah, there you go. It was Monday. Okay. Monday, again, we have this big wick here. And that 130 candle comes on up. Again, that was a big news candle. Takes out the Asia high. And then turns back around, and you're trading it off of market structure at this point, right? You don't really have much going on here, not much in terms of high volume nodes, but there's that. Okay, you've got your golden pocket from that high to that low, right? So the TA is going to help you, but that storyline is really important, right? You sweep in that Asia high. You've now hit into a high probability zone. You've got a previous high there. Nice wick. You sweep it, take that liquidity as well. You know, you're going to hit a bunch of stops there on this push down. Doesn't have to sweep it aggressively because, you know, there's a lot of entries here. And once this move goes down, they're going to be putting their stops at break even or slight profit or whatever. Come back up, nail it. All right, 19 likes. We only need 31 more likes. 27 views, only 11 likes. It's very sad, very sad. Very sad, but I appreciate you all here who are watching and liking. Okay, so you can incorporate that same thing with VWAPs, right? Anchored VWAPs. Just watch what's happening on the day as price comes into a, previous week's VWAP or something of that nature. And it will keep you in good hands, man. Keep you safe. Okay, so I don't think Crypto Yark's in here either. He's not, so we'll have to talk about this later on for him as well. No problems. But that is it. So as far as this week is concerned, this the zone we just hit into here is a zone that I would have been quite interested in for Friday. Sorry, for Monday. Okay, and this zone here also 98.4-ish, 98.3-ish. These are going to be the zones that I'm interested in to look off what happens on Monday. Okay, now obviously this one's been hit, so that's no longer interesting, but looks pretty decent for a little move back up. That's a pretty good response there, but a bit of a stopping volume candle, but it's barely green. All right, so bulls taking back control on this candle and saying, no, we're not going to let you take this level right now. And then pretty weak response there, not much happening, and now pushing up on lowering volume. So not overly convincing, but this looks like it could be setting up for a nice little push up and then a pullback into something and then go. What are we on, a 15-minute chart here? Let's take it down to the 3. All right, and yeah, same story really. Great reaction. Really here you start to see that bullish volume popping in. But yeah, it doesn't look like the bulls are too interested in letting this drop here. All right, price pumps up, get a little pullback, start to get some pretty bullish looking candles here. It's pretty cute. Pretty cute. So that could definitely be heading on up to get us to close closer to that gap today. See if we can accomplish that before Monday's open. That way we don't have to have anything to chase down. But that's it. That's how I'm going to start my week on the Bitcoin, looking at these two levels. In terms of the NASDAQ, we've got a real nasty level just above us here. We're going to be motoring into this here. So I'm going to be very interested in a potential short off of Asia Open, especially if it gaps. If it gaps up, that would be the ideal situation to about 22,300-ish. I'll be looking to quickly get in on a short on that. If we look on the high time frame, I mean, it is pretty scary looking. Let's take this on the daily here. That is a potentially massive M formation here. So I'll definitely be looking for a short here around the 22.3 zone. All right, but be very careful. No limit orders. Got to see reaction. Got to see how things set up and then go. Mr. Salman Barty says most 100x long liquidated at 96. Makes no sense booking already. Makes no sense booking, eh? Well, it's the weekend, so weekends don't really make that much sense. Makes no sense bouncing here. Sure, it makes sense bouncing here. What doesn't make sense about it? You've got all these cute little liquidity zones here. You hit them and bounce. Unless we're talking different languages. But yeah, makes sense. To me, it makes perfect sense. Good zone, good liquidity, grab it up. It's the weekend, nothing really, I can't see them really pushing too far away from the gap here. Yeah, that's what I would say. Remember, you always got to save something for later, right? Or else it would be too easy to figure this out. Like if you've got all these liquidity zones down here, you know, and you just come down and take them all in the one foul swoop and then turn around, you know, just hang on for the ride. But no, take one out, come back up, come grab some from the upside, maybe close the gap. We got a bunch of hours still left in this trading day, so you know it could still keep going down. But yeah, always got to leave some stuff to do later. And also, everybody that's looking for those lower liquidity zones or lower EMAs or lower fib levels are going to get left behind, scratching their heads, so to speak, right? So yeah, it doesn't have to make perfect sense. It just has to make some sense. That's what I would say. But all right, guys, that is going to do it. Watch out for these two levels for the days to start. Asia Open should be pretty interesting. Let's see if they come in with volume. They definitely could, especially if we close up around here. They could decide to tank this a bit, go down, grab some liquidity, and see if Europe and New York might want to turn that bad boy around. A little biased short on DQ seems like. You were looking, or shorts on Friday also didn't happen. Yeah, well, I didn't take a short on Friday. But yeah, I was looking for the Asia stop, and then obviously it just kept going, right? So I didn't take it. So remember, when I'm saying I'm looking for something, it doesn't mean I'm going to take a short there. It means I'm going to watch for it and see what happens, right? That's really it. And on the Asia Open, if they gap up, then they're usually going to come down and grab that gap pretty quick on Asia. So if it starts showing signs of that, and depending on the gap, then I will get in there and trade it down. Again, I'll take profit quick and get my stop loss in order. But I wouldn't call it a bias. I would just call it, you know, look at that. We're up at the highs. Let's, you know, this is a good place to be looking for a short. It's a horrible place to be looking for a long. So, yeah, not biased, just opinioned, which is sort of the same thing. I get it. But that bias can turn around real quick, right? You got to have some sort of directional idea of what you're looking for. And then if you don't see what you're looking for, then you just got to move on. US banks and New York Stock Exchange closed on Monday. That's fine. Asia's not, right? So that's fine. Let's see here. Why are they closed on Monday? What am I missing here? What's February 17th? I thought they weren't closed now until April. Oh, President's Day? Yeah, well, here it's obvious. Closed on Monday. Going from Tuesday straight to, sorry, Friday straight to Tuesday. Washington's birthday. Oh, for God's sakes. Is this a new Trump thing? Washington Day? It's got to be a Trump thing, man. Got to be a Trump thing. Yeah, it really does. Because I'm looking at the list here. U.S. bank holidays. The next one's supposed to be Good Friday on the 18th of April. All right. Bloody Washington Day. Oh, bank holidays. All right. So, yeah, looks like it will be only trading until London closes. And that will be that. That will be that. That's good. That's a good short day then. Perfect. See how that goes. All right. Well, that is still what I'll be looking for see which way this breaks. These are obviously just for quick day trades, right? So not going to be looking off swings off that. I'm still looking for that 90K zone or break 100K zone to look for longer term trades. Let's see how that works out. But all right, fellas, that is going to do it. Or gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday, and I will see you in the Discord VIP later on. All right, unfortunately, we didn't hit our 50 like target. So we're going to try this next Sunday again. Every Sunday, we're going to do a VIP membership giveaway, but we got to get the likes. I'll support you, but you got to support me back. That's the way this is going to go. It's a two-way street. No free rides. All right. You're welcome, Mr. Barty. See you guys in the Discord very soon. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. All right. Be safe and be well.